Hi guys, I'm Seamus and this is Esther. And yesterday was our second son Isaac. It was his fifth birthday, and we were reminded of the whole journey that we went through for his birth. And we just want to share it with you because we think it can be encouraging. When we had our first son, Judah, we had a huge expectation about the birth and the delivery. We had a feeling of faith. We stood in faith that we believed that what was going to happen was going to be a pleasurable experience. It was going to be everything that we dreamed of in terms of receiving a blessing from God. And what happened was horrific.
Okay, that's a little
A bit strong, is it? I'm trying to be.
Nobody died.
Well,
That would be horrific.
in terms of our expectation,
Yeah.
it was shattered because we thought it was going to be pleasurable. We thought it was going to be in
Peaceful.
some cases very painless, and it just felt, we had this impression and this faith that it was going to be amazing. But what happened was, to make a long story short, we were separated, and it was very how would you describe it?
It was just very disappointing. We were told that it would be one way, and it was very much the opposite way. So we were told that we could be together, that we would share this experience, that it would be, there would be like an element of control. When in reality, as soon as we stepped into the hospital, it was very much in the control of the hospital, and you go
The
this
system.
way, and yeah, you go that way, and it just made us feel very insecure, very kind of undone when we had gone into this going, this is going to be this amazing blessed experience, because we knew in our souls that this is a God-given event, and which produces life, and it's meant to be this really, maybe not an easy experience, but a good experience, as a part of God's blessing. So when those choices, which God is all about choice, but in man's system, the choice is taken away, and often it results in control, and so that leaves you feeling very powerless, very afraid, very
Isolated.
unable. Yeah, and it's very scary, and so that's what happened. We were separated. I felt very afraid. I felt very out of control. I didn't feel that there was the support that I needed. There's no one with me. So the results of that, God was very gracious in it. It didn't go on for very long. The labor
We
was
received an
quick.
amazing blessing in our
Yes.
first son.
Yes, and it was the result. We were very blessed, but I was left very kind of broken on a personal and emotional level, because I just had lost my expectation in what I had thought was going to be this very, I don't know, just a very empowering.
Pleasurable, yeah. So we had this bitter taste in our mouth, and so I remember Esther saying to me, "I'll never do that again." She felt like she was dying through the whole process, and it took us probably about a year to start to almost face our demons, to see it for what it was, and start to consider having a second baby.
Yeah.
And when we decided, when Esther was pregnant the second time, to Esther's credit, she just had this revenge, and we both felt like, no, this time's going to be different. This time we're going to get everything we missed out on and more. We're going to get redemption for what we lost on the first time.
Yeah, because even the first time, I knew that this experience is supposed to be empowering, that you can do it yourself. It's not something that should be taken from you, or that you are left feeling helpless and unable to accomplish. So for the second time round, I was like, I'm ready now to face this again, and it's going to be different. I'm not exactly sure how it's going to be different. I didn't have an exact plan. I think we thought initially we'll go into the hospital and just tell them to back off.
Yeah, well, let me
Right.
tell the story.
Yeah.
So essentially, what we had decided and what we had faith for and peace for, so we followed our peace. And after Esther did a lot of research and made me watch some disgusting videos, we decided that we were going to have a home birth. And our plan A was to have the baby at home, and then as a backup plan, my parents were going to be on stand-in so that they would take us to the hospital if we needed. And 5 years ago, last night, Esther wakes me up and says, I'm ready. And we had a little swimming pool with warm water, and she was like just missioning it, feeling this power, and she started pushing, and I'm going, just wait until you feel the urge. I'm thinking she's rushing things, and straight away her water bursts and baby's delivered within an hour of you waking me up that night, because I was like, I need to sleep, this is going to be a long one. It was the most holy and powerful time in my life, because it was like time stopped, and it was our space, and there was this godly authority over that area, where everything that we lost and everything that we thought was robbed from us was given back to us, and that peace that we lost was redeemed, and what was given was far beyond our expectations. Everything we got from God, the blessing that we sought, we got double portion. And we're just reminded of it because it was Isaac's birthday yesterday. But ultimately, God turns everything around, turns all things around for the good of those who love Him. And Sean and Bonnie have been talking about the blessing, and we just want to add to that, not add to their message, but to the thing is that no matter what pain you've gone through, whatever issues you've dealt with, God has got blessing for you. And He will turn even the negative things, the things that hurt you the most, the things that you really wanted but you haven't got, He will turn that pain for something good. We wouldn't have desired to do a home birth. We wouldn't have done that if we were living in another country with another public health system. But because we got such a bad experience, no fault of the doctors or the nurses, it was just the system. Because we got such a bad experience, we sought for God's best. And so the message is, don't settle for okay. Don't settle for the pain and the misery. Don't limit your faith, but seek His kingdom, seek His righteousness, and all these things will be added to you.
But that's the amazing thing, is that you sometimes think, well, a bad experience, that's a robbery, and that's not God's goodness, that's not His plan. But the amazing thing is that if you, even through that, you still continue to believe that that wasn't God's best, that was a bad situation, that was, a learning experience, and that if you use those bad experiences to become a stepping stone and a platform from which you are propelled into the greater goodness of God. Basically, if we hadn't had that first bad experience, we would have never had the incredible fullness of our second experience. And that's that always amazes me, because I always think, well, it was just negative. No, it wasn't just negative. It was like a springboard into something completely redeemed, something completely blessed. And I sometimes would think in the past, I would think about my friends in Canada or somewhere else, and I'd be like, they've got it so easy, their hospitals are so amazing, they're so caring, they're so sympathetic. And yet, because we've stepped outside of that into something totally different, and we've followed God's lead, we had this experience that guaranteed I don't think I would have even had in Canada. And I was even able to encourage a friend in Canada to do the same thing. And she wouldn't have done that if we hadn't had this experience, and she had an incredible experience as well. And it's like, if we follow God and we follow His voice, it's not just to fulfill the purposes of God, which of course it is, but within that He will set up situations that push you into the fullness of who you're made to be, and that bless you in ways that you are literally, we were just left speechless. It was such an incredible experience, and it was so personally designed for us. It was so personal, and it was so fulfilling and so just incredible that we just were left knowing that, God, beyond a shadow of a doubt, He knows exactly where you're supposed to be, exactly where you're supposed to go, and that the more you trust Him, because that was a huge trust everyone potentially so many things could go wrong. It's scary, it's irresponsible, it's this, is that, but we just followed that peace. And when you follow that peace and you follow that knowing, I think you'll just be absolutely amazed by where God will take you and what will come up and who He will make you.
Yeah, we ended up with the ambulance arriving. It was a red rainstorm, so if you don't know, in Hong Kong the rain pours heavily because we're in a tropical zone. And at that same time that Isaac was being born, it was a red rainstorm, so the ambulance couldn't come. So we had all our excuses. And then when the ambulance eventually did come, after I called them 3 hours later, I had to quieten the paramedics, turn off the sirens of the ambulance, tell them to settle down. They wanted to take her through a stretcher. They wanted her to lie down. Esther was fully walking. She was peaceful. She was holding baby. We didn't even need to go to the hospital, except that they needed to just do their checks.
Birth certificate.
And ultimately, if we had to compare the first experience in the hospital and the second experience that God gave us, it's night and day. And it's just incredible. Never settle for just walking away like victims and going, well, God didn't give it. No, God has the best for you. And just don't limit your faith. Don't limit your faith.
Follow your peace. That's
so we
huge.
hope that encourages you and blesses you. Well done for not crying.
Nope.
And
Didn't shed a single tear.
well done. Thank you very much.